right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Symbaroum tonight. We have a full party, and we're gonna get them together as fast as we can, and we're gonna check in a moment with whatever Madjac's been doing for the past day. He hasn't been getting arrested by the church like some people. I don't know who could that be. Jinzo, how you feeling?
That was
you're gonna get like a tattoo or something like that to sort of document your experiences.
They might think it's another blight. I probably shouldn't.
Yeah. It's a terrible cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And we also got Jinzo's artwork. Far too. Uh-oh. We just lost Aaron. Oh, we just had everybody. And now they're gone.
Oh no.
So
the wind
so let's just talk for a minute. The wind got it. So I was thinking as we were getting ready to go live that I was going to change the way we start. Instead of doing like, hey, welcome to Adventures Lollygagging, etc. I was going to be like, are you guys ready to gag? And I was like, no, that probably would be fun. I know Jeremy would love it.
You would have gotten.
I would.
Jeremy would love that. Are you kidding? Yeah. Anyhow.
Like me.
Yeah, we had all sorts of jokes way back in the day. What was it? What was the after show? The gag reflex. That was going to be like we were going to do an after show. We were going to do the gag reflex. We had all sorts of jokes, but we never did it because that takes work, and I don't want to do it anymore. Instead, we're play a game, and we're going to pick up where we left off. We're also going to, like I said, we're going to check in with Madjac, see what he's been up to. So before we get going, let me do a quick summary of what happened last time, and then we'll get started. So. Last time around, Rowena, Jinzo, you all were in the Church of Prios. You were in the temple. You were speaking with Father Elfino, who is, I think, the first Theurg is his title here in Thistlehold. And he noticed a very worrying scar across Jinzo's face, and he believed it to be a sign of corruption, a stigma. And he called for a pair of Theurgs to take you away for treatment. Jinzo, you relinquished your weapons. You got brought into a cell beneath the temple. And then Rowena had to speak with Elfino alone. The conversation didn't last very long. All he really said about Anadea, because he seemed very reluctant to speak about her, he just said that she was a former novice and that she had lost her way, was sort of the idea. And then the conversation got interrupted by another priest, and then what seemed like a very frustrated Elfino led you and escorted you to a different room in the temple, just beneath the dome, where you met with Deceba the Old, who is a legend among Ambrians and followers of Prios, because she was a Lightbringer. She's the only living person to ever be given the Lightbringer title, which is sort of like a sainthood kind of thing, an honorific normally given to people posthumously. She revealed to you that Anadea kept a bunk in the temple, but had not been there for a few weeks. But she was willing to get you access if you and your allies would do a favor for her, and she wanted you effectively to protect. Or look into these assassination or harassments against Father Sarvola, who is a heretic priest that you've already met and helped outside of the tavern of Odovacar. She believed that it was not just like wild acts, but instead there was like some sort of coordinated attempt on his life, and she wanted you to get to the bottom with it. And she could not be seen, nor could the Sun Church should be seen helping him, because he has been deemed by the first father, Jasiba guy, who's basically the Pope kind of deal, as a heretic. So the Sun Church can't be seen to do anything. So you guys have to do it. Eventually you got brought into the catacombs, where you met a man with a ton of corruption called Orai, who gave you a little bit of a story about how he was hired for an expedition that killed and decapitated a forest god. It was led by a changeling woman, and he arrived, and this all happened shortly before the events of the sinkhole here in Thistlehold. This was also near Jinzo's cell. Jinzo was able to kind of help a little bit, get Orai to talk. And as part of the deal to help out Sarvola, Rowena got Jinzo out of jail. But Jinzo had to kind of pledge an oath that he would subject himself to the treatments after all this business is taken care of. Elsewhere, Atolia managed to save the life of the bleeding Dismas, and probably immediately regretted doing so. But Gwydion was unable to regain or find the trail of the ruffians who led this little ambush. Dismas was very, very mad at Gwydion and promised to tell his mother about how Gwydion had failed at his sacred charge of protecting the emissary's son. Gwydion, you did acknowledge your failure. You promised to keep Dismas around from now on. I don't know how the party's going to feel about that. We're going to find out. And eventually dusk approached. The three of you ventured over to the Park of the Elders, where you met with Rowena and Jinzo, who were coming out of the temple, but there was still no sign of Madjac. So we are going to go back a little bit. We're going to check in with Madjac here. All right, let me get a little music, maybe. Yeah, okay. See if that works. So bear with me for a moment. So we're going to open up in a forest. Not just any forest, like the forest, right? Somewhere in Davokar, we see this wide and deep ravine. It's got these dead gray walls decorated by like vines and lichens snaking down from somewhere above. We can see this canopy of trees that's effectively blanketing out all of the sunlight in the area. The whole area is dim. It's also undulating. It's covered in all these different dense thickets. We even hear and see this little silty stream cutting by, and in it, we can see these large, abnormally large black leeches pulsing and feeding on these carcasses of small game, barely sticking out of the water. We see some rustling in the nearby brush, and out steps two figures. The first towers somewhat over the second. First is about 7 feet tall or so, hair tangling down their back like it's some sort of lush foliage, little patterns here and there down the sleeves of flowers and leaves. It's clearly a summer elf. The second is about a head shorter, thereabouts, with bestial-looking eyes that almost seem to glow in this kind of gray dimness, and it's eyes that we all have become familiar with. It's Madjac's eyes. Both of them are carrying bows, and they're moving carefully through this brush. And the elf motions Madjac to this gnarled tree nearby, to where we can see this trunk that is withering without sunlight and stoops kind of like an old crone. Madjac hesitates for a moment. It was just a moment, but it was long enough that there was a swift crack as the elf takes their bow and just smacks it right beside Madjac's head. And we can see a little small spurt of blood trickle out of the ear, down the neck a bit. Madjac doesn't really flinch, doesn't really complain, because that would just get a second crack. Instead, we watch Madjac shuffling away from the elf, disappears for a moment in the thicket, and then a second later we see him scrambling up this dying tree. The elf is moving along the stream in the shadows of the trees far above, and he notices this subtle tremble in the water. And the tremble grows both in frequency and in strength, and then starts to radiate into the earth, which begins to shake and echo like an encroaching thunder. We see gray dusk and rocks start to crumble from the ravine walls, and we watch as the elf turns, looks upwards, and spies first a massive leaping shadow, and then the very rage troll that seems to comprise the shadow. It slams down, cratering the earth where it lands, and it sends this elf tumbling backwards. Weapon flies out of their hands into the stream. And then nearby, we see Madjac has drawn his bowstring. It's taut, ready to fire, but he's not, when he looks down the arrow, he's not looking at the troll. Instead, he's looking at the elf. We hear the roar of the troll just overwhelm all sound, including the bowstring reverberating as Madjac lets the arrow loose, and even the cry of the elf as the arrow pierces through their calf and pins them to the ground. We turn back, we look at Madjac again. He's pulling out another arrow from his quiver, but as he looks down to aim once more at his surprised quarry, we see that it's not the summer elf that he's looking at anymore. The summer elf isn't even there. It's, in fact, himself. Madjac, much younger, toddler even. He's wearing this too large sleeping gown. He's covered in blood and ash. And it's not the elf, but himself, a younger him, pinned to this earth. The rage troll still there, charging, throws itself across the stream at this much younger Madjac, whose Shakar eyes just go wide with terror. And then black. And when we come back, we see the Madjac we know. His mask is removed. You can see his face kind of coated in sweat, his eyes bursting open as he wakes from a very familiar nightmare. The linens on which his head rests are damp with sweat, but also a little bit of blood that kind of trickles out his ear, from his neck, the very long healed old wound. Madjac, outside, the sun hasn't risen. Very little sound. Maybe you hear the sweeping of the streets by some of the goblins. But other than that, it's just a little drip, drip, drip as the sort of the soggy sheets drop to the floorboards. What do you do?
You see, Madjac sits up from his pallet, and you've never seen him without. He's just wearing his breech cloth, and you see the crisscrossing scars across his back and his shoulders and his chest and his thighs. And he slowly gets up. He rolls his shoulders, looks down at his mask, only picks it up, puts it on his face, and grabs the empty sheath and harness for an elvish greatsword. And he straps it across his chest, and he walks out into the training yard at Mahira's agency, barefoot. He's been sleeping in the back room. And he goes into the yard, and you see him settle. And as the moonlight is coming through, you see him pull, and it's almost as if you could see the flickering image of a sword in his hands as he begins to work slowly through kata after kata. And you hear him under the very undertone of his voice, almost thrumming through his chest. No, you're weak, human. You're inferior. You dark-blooded cur. You'll never be Ironsworn. You'll never uphold the pack. And you see him moment after moment. His kata is perfect, and then he flinches. It's almost as if he's being struck over and over again. And he just continues this diatribe in a voice that's not quite continuous. Failures for hours. Others to come up, moving through the yard, drops, absolutely coated in sweat, and just sprawls out in blood. He's turned up with his own and movement, and lies sobbing in the ground.
So we'll watch for a bit as there's sort of this time lapse as the light goes from morning to midday to evening. Time is clearly passing. Other people, like Madjac said, start to come into this yard, practice familiar faces, unfamiliar faces. At a certain point, Madjac, as you're maybe coming back to, maybe you've gone to where you slept and come back out fully dressed now, shoes back on. You can see your goblin associates, Hugalea and Urfran's kind of sparring here or there. You can see that there is a bit of a commotion happening in the sort of the central, the opening meeting area within the agency. It's not right in the yard, but you can kind of hear it through this large open window. And you look through, you see the familiar face of Mother Mahira. She is older. She's got premature gray. She looks probably older than she really is. She's gesticulating wildly, talking almost kind of in a restrained fashion, trying not to yell, but it's just her right arm because her left is missing, her right eye covered with a patch, not unlike Gwydion's. And you can see and start to hear that she seems to be at odds a bit with a well-dressed, perfumed noble. And it's probably somebody that you maybe have seen a few times over the past several months or so, because he has been very painstakingly and meticulously planning an expedition. And he's been doing it for years. He goes by the name of Valamai Dorego. He's known to be the fourth son of Baron Valtos Dorego, one of the lesser, minor noble houses. And you hear Mother Mahira say,
I don't think this is a good idea. Mr. Ateo does not take to being removed when so close to an expedition. The last time he was denied action, it was... Well, the witch in the familiar still hasn't quite recovered. Serix is he is a wonderful fighter, strong as an ox, nearly as large as an ogre, and he heals quite quickly. I implore you, not to remove him.
And the lord, the noble,
Well, that might be all well and good, but I saw him, and he had a very terrible wound in his side. I fully recognize that it was a wound that he took while defending Thistlehold, but that is neither here nor there. I have been planning this expedition for 3 years. I will not have it wrecked because we have to begin carrying such a large man for so far a time, right as we step out into the forest. They're all... If that is what you wish...
and at that point, Madjac, you watch like a door as you're looking through the window. You see one of the doors open to this meeting room, and you see bursting in is this like tall man. You've seen him before. You recognize him. You see him maybe here and there around the agency, but you also recognize him from the sinkhole. He's very, very tall, like 6'6" or so. He's almost like when they say he's an ogre, he's not really an ogre, but he's very large for an Ambrian. White hair. You can see he's kind of laboring here and there, and you can tell by the way he's kind of moving about, he's probably drunk at the same time. And he comes roaring in,
How dare you? What is the meaning of this? I will not be treated this way after everything I have given Ambria. I deserve to have some warning.
And like you can see the other two are trying to calm him down. You even see there's a few of your fellow fortune hunters, would-be fortune hunters, trying to ease him back as he's just kind of slamming things left and right. And the whole time, like the noble is just kind of staring and watching him. And like Mother Mirror's got like the one arm up on him, kind of putting it on his shoulder and trying to calm him down. Do you do anything throughout all of this, Madjac?
Madjac will walk up. Ateo, what is with this? Professional, remember? We're professionals.
There's nothing professional about what they're doing. It's just a scratch. It's just a scratch. It will heal before a fortnight is done. The expedition will last, 100 times that length. This fool here has done nothing with his life. He's trying to deny me my adventure.
And you see he coughs a bit.
Arm around
Little
him a little
blood.
bit. He's like, Ateo, come. You're hurt, my friend. You know it. I know it. Even the stupid noble knows it. You don't want, not you. Don't worry about it. You don't want your reputation to get so bad amongst them that they don't even consider you for the next expedition. Remember, there's always a next one.
And he just kind of shoves you off. And he looks at Maekar in the eye.
Oh, remember this. There's no one here rated as bravely or as highly as I am. The next time this happens, you'll be hearing from me. I swear it.
And he just kind of like throws everyone off who's trying to hold him back. And you see him storm back out. The noble, meanwhile, turns to you. Turns to Mahira. He's like, well, now, about his replacement, I know you recommended, and he looks out into the yard, that one, what was its name?
That's Urfrins. He's very, very capable. He's stronger and larger than most of our goblin fighters.
Yes, that might be, but I must say, the expedition I had in my mind is just... Well, I'll be honest, I want people I can trust. And if
Mayor Nightpitch wants to give the goblins some sort of job cleaning and sweeping floors, well then that's his business, and that's probably perfectly fine. But for an expedition of this caliber, I need those I can have greater trust in. Ambrians, preferably. What say you? This one here. And he kind of looks over at Madjac. Yes, you have an interesting look about you.
I will say this, my lord. I spent most of my life within the forests of Davokar. I speak Elvish fluently, and I'm a master of the bow. So, if your expedition is needing a scout, well, perhaps we could discuss what you're offering.
Well, we really already have enough scouts. We're looking more for fighters, warriors.
Well, I do represent an adventuring group, a cadre, 2 well-trained, very competent fighters, an Ordo Magica sorceress, and a very, very talented purveyor of goods and scout. And between my bow, blade, and spear, you would be bringing on 3 well-armed fighters.
Now, they registered here with the agency. Mahira, do you have their ratings? And she's like, who are you talking about?
Well, I'm referring to Gwydion, Anatolia. Obviously, Rowena's not. She's Ordo Magica. And then we've picked up a new fellow, Jinzo. I know he works at the Arbitorium. I don't know if he's got a rating here or not. But I could probably convince them to put up the Thaler to,
She kind of winces, like, you know how it works here. Like,
I know, but it looks like you're between a rock and a hard place, and Gwydion hits like a tank.
Gwydion.
The barbarian. He knows.
No, thank you. No.
Well, there's always me.
Well, if you are as capable with fighting as you are with scouting, I suppose we can consider it. We leave on the morrow. Let me mull it over. There's really no one else, like right in front of you. No one better, taller, stronger, more grand in stature. And Mother in here is just like,
most of the hard hitters went on in the fight a couple of days to recover.
Oh, I suppose then we will have to make do. I am not going to delay it again. Be here tomorrow at dawn. We leave quickly. Say goodbye to whoever it is you have to say goodbye to, and be ready. Yes, Mr.
Madjac Maekar.
Mr. Maekar. Excellent. I'll see you on the morrow. And you can see he and Mahira kind of go off into this side office room. They start kind of negotiating and kind of going through paperwork because she takes a cut. Anybody she hires is like a 25% cut that she kind of takes. And so they start kind of working on your deal. What happens after this? Where do you head? Where does Madjac go?
Sounded as goblin buddies. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I know you're damn good, but the Ambrians are racist bastards. I don't know what to tell you. Next.
No, it's all right. I don't even want to go with them anyway. If I do, I probably won't come back.
Well, what have you heard about his expedition?
Oh, it's not his expedition. That's his first. You see, that one right there, he spends more time trying to make sure he looks good, not caring too much about, he has a sword on his belt, but I don't know if he knows how to use it except maybe to poke at his food.
No, it's pretty clear he is not going to be any good out there. But if I'm going to get paid to keep him alive,
what do you people call delusions of grandeur? I think is what it's called. He thinks he's gonna find what did he kind of learned Simba he's going for. He wants to become famous. That's what he's after. He's not after treasure or riches, just fame. He wants to be the one who finds a safe passage to the last resting palace of the Symbarian Empire. Sure he will. It's his first expedition.
You know, they're all box or rocks. I don't understand how they managed to conquer the barbarian in the first place. But if they're Thalers, I'll take it.
Hey, you could get Thaler a lot of different ways. They're less risky than going with that one right there. But hey, it's your life. If that's what you want. Yeah, when isn't it? When isn't it?
Side note, have you seen Lysindra around?
I think she's got a place over by the Eastern Palisades, I think. Yeah, somewhere over there. By the gates.
You know for sure where she's at?
I mean, I don't know an address or nothing. She doesn't really talk. She doesn't come around here anymore, but it's over there somewhere. Yeah, get over in the neighborhood, ask around. I'm sure they get pointed around to it.
Fair enough. Hey, if you see her, if she does stop by, just tell her Madjac's looking for her. She already knows it, but can't.
All right. Okay, no problem. I'll take care of that.
He just kind of like scratching his nose, and then we'll say we'll fade out of that. And nighttime comes. We see like Madjac like pushing the door open to the Adovacar Tavern, and as it opens up, we can hear the sounds of like patrons, and we can hear clinking like mugs of ale, and we see people laughing and such. But then we hear a voice just kind of cutting through, and we see like a crowd in Madjac's way as he steps into the tavern, and we hear, yeah, I'm just really sick and tired of going to the Witch and the Familiar. There's just there's too many folks over there that just they're all talk. They're no bite. They're just a bunch of phonies over there. I think this place is a little weirder. There's a bunch of people like, sons and daughters of famous folk and such who think that they know something, a thing or two. This is the place. This is a real gritty place. So anyhow, Rowena, what I was telling you is Atolia, she saved my life. And we see there's the group at a table and like, he's just talking. What do you do, Atolia?
that's she did absolutely save your life, and I'm so very glad that she has released you from your 5-syllable restriction. I'm sure that was so difficult for you when you had that restriction, and I'm so glad that you're healed enough that you don't have to count your syllables
isn't. You really
anymore.
shouldn't be talking as much.
Well, I mean, the black brew really helps. And he just takes this huge chug of a brew as you all turn and you see, weaving between the crowd, coming to your table, is your friend Madjac.
Hey, Iron Eye. So I see you, Dismas is linked to your hip again. How fortunate for you.
Yep, prettier than ever.
Hey, listen. I don't know what you guys were up to, but I've got us a job. A real job. That's actually going to pay us Thaler, instead of us just getting bent over by that bitch Ufrenda.
Lower your mouth, lower your voice, lower your
She's
voice.
not going to be in a barbarian bar. Let's face it. We went in that hole and risked our lives for scraps, and then she takes the one good thing out of the haul.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
But you ought to know, Madjac, Rowena got us a job too already. We're in a queue at this point.
What's the job? What's it pay?
Well, so you missed a whole lot. Why don't you sit down? You're coming in hot. Like, have a seat.
Well, we gotta leave in the morning, so but all right, I'll sit.
Take a seat. You weren't the only one that had a day. Let's bring you up to speed.
I had a good day.
I think Gwydion owes me a bit of Thaler for what I did for my day, honestly, and hearing about it for the next 6 months.
Yeah. So some of us got stabbed and some of us went to church.
And
you guys who went to church?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely
Who
not.
would do that? Getting stabbed is normal, but church?
Yeah.
I don't mind a stabbing, but church?
All right,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting, Arena. Tell me what's going on.
Well, Jinzo and I were gathering information at Church of Prios. That was to be our plan. We were all going to go to the Church of Prios and gather information. And then Jinzo... I'm still unclear, Jinzo, why exactly you went to jail.
By Prios' swollen celestial balls, Jinzo, you walked into the Church of Prios? Those sun-scorched zealots, how did you even get out of there?
I'm guessing you're not a follower of Prios, but...
Well, hell no, he's a psychopath. Do you see the people they burn in the streets just because they've got scars like on your face? Let alone these, he pulls his mask up and you see his shining eyes. I'm like, no, I am not a follower of Prios.
Whoa, hey man, that's one of those. Oh jeez, I drank too much. Oh god.
Yeah, don't worry about it,
not
Dismas.
enough.
Oh, they also have a whole sect that likes to take people a little bit further out of field. And
don't get me started on the Black Friars. I mean, all of those bastards can go straight to whatever hell the elves can find.
Will you agree on that one?
So anyway, the Theurgs put Jinzo in jail.
Of course they did.
As you can see, Jinzo's no longer in jail.
How'd you pull that one off?
We have a job so that he's not in jail anymore.
So we're getting paid with him not being in jail?
Oh, here's the fun bit, Madjac.
Well, yes, I would have much preferred that than him
promised he'll
being
go
in jail.
back after we're done our job.
Hold on. So we are getting paid with Jinzo being released from jail to do a job for the church so that he can then go back to jail?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about right.
You guys keep calling it a jail, but it's healing.
Were there bars?
Of course, blessed by Prios himself.
Could you
It's
walk
like that
out?
Sunday night special at the brothel where they come at you from both ends.
Wild nights.
Kid,
Brady just looks
You
like
need to
Queen
get out of
with,
this
like
hole
no
for a while,
concept
okay?
of what that was.
so my job, a noble wants to pay us, Fowler, to walk him into the forest and probably walk him back out when he gets so scared that he shits his britches. Easy money.
That seems hardly the important thing. We do this. Do you remember when we left the bar and Father Servolo was being attacked and we helped him?
Good man, Servola. Only priest of Prios that I trust.
Well,
I'm
glad to hear you say that because our job is to protect him and find out who is trying to murder him. And that's all we need to do.
For nothing.
For him, we owe a debt.
Well, I don't
know
a debt. I'm pretty sure I don't owe any debts.
Didn't what's her name have a key to some place or something that maybe we'll...
Oh, Anadelia, yeah. Well, her place, but I mean, did you guys find that?
I believe the information
we do this, and then we get that.
And then we also lose Jinzo again back to prison.
So we got Jinzo back, and we get the key to her Anadea's place.
So we're doing a lot of work
Servolo
to protect Night Pitch and that bitch Euphrea and Thistlehold for no money, just so in the end, Jinzo could go back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You are so obsessed with Thaler. There are other things to do other than Thaler.
I like to. Well, not all of us get to sit in a tower of the Ordo of Magica and get fed every day.
I mean, you can get fed today without any Thaler. How's that? I will buy you a drink and a bowl of soup.
Drinking a bowl of soup is enough to at least let me listen to what you have to say.
And Ruin is like, if he's drinking, he's not talking. She just like throws some ale in his direction.
To be fair, Madjac, I nearly have all the Thaler I need to buy myself a little bit of better armor, and I wouldn't mind that before heading out on an expedition.
Well, the expedition leaves tomorrow, so if we want the job, we gotta make a move.
All right, and do we like the person who's behind us?
Absolutely no. He's an Ambrian prick.
Yeah.
But he's an Ambrian prick with money, who's the son of a baron. So if we get him out, get him in there, get him out,
What are the
it's
odds?
my job. It's what I do. Oh, the odds are shit. Anytime you go into Davokar, the odds are shit. But that doesn't matter. It's Davokar.
I was going to actually ask, what are the odds he carries the money on him and we can't just fleece him when we're in the woods?
Well, I mean, he's an Ambrian noble. We're not going to be the only ones with him. So, I mean, if we want a price on our head and we want to be running for the rest of our lives, sure.
Fair enough.
Here's that drink, Madjac.
Thanks. And he shuts up and drinks and eats the soup.
Oh, do you want to know about more
It's
trouble
like-
that you get for no money? The people that we're looking into, this whole cult thing, they've already hired people to kill us.
So, if we stay in Thistlehold, not only are we not getting paid to do a whole bunch of stuff so Jinzo can go to jail, we're also going to be murdered.
Yes.
That's about right, yeah.
Did we forget to
Someone was
mention that they
already
tried to kill
following me
them?
home to Blackmore.
But don't forget, the ones you killed, they had money on them. So there we go. We got paid, right?
That is true.
Is it a lot of money?
No.
I mean, it was more than I had yesterday. So,
That's
I
a
mean,
fair
he's got a
statement.
spear now.
That's a good point.
Well, actually, we're going to learn the bow so we can get some
Yeah.
distance first.
It's true.
and he takes it out. He's like, yeah, I got it right here. Oh, shit. No. And it goes kind of flying all over the place.
Madjac, that might be on you a little bit to teach him some things.
No. Sorry. Gwydon, if you want to pay me to instruct him in the bow, I will definitely consider it. But for free, Dismas, you drive me crazy and I want to kill you most days. So you stay
I
over there
might
next to
actually
Gwydon.
consider that. It might be worth the money to do that.
I think I'm in
Because
favor
you
of this
deserve that.
expedition.
He's the best.
Oh, sorry,
that
what was that, Jinzo?
I think this expedition could do us good. I've never been outside the walls, not alone myself, but with this group. I think my father would allow me.
I would agree, but I do actually really think Father Sarvola is a good person to have around in general.
Bring him with us. Never hurts to have a priest of Prios on your side.
It's true. If he's out in the woods, nobody's going to be killing him.
Oh, I do wonder if you'd be interested in that. That might be a good idea.
Davakar's
we
beautiful
could
this time of year.
Put these things together. Yes, I do. We did give our word that we were going to find him and protect him and figure out
There's a lot of we in that.
Well, of course. We
That's right.
care
We're a
about our
team.
companions and we
Yeah,
want to
all
make
right.
sure that we gave our word that we would look into this and we should give our word. And I mean,
Yeah.
if this noble is going somewhere, does it really matter if they leave tomorrow or the next day? He doesn't know what he's doing anyway. What would it really matter if he pushes it out another day?
He's not going to push it out for us. We either got the job with him tomorrow, or he's going to take some other guards, and we don't have the job. Because that's how nobles work. They're asshats.
I do not understand you.
I love that word. It's just such a funny image.
Like this is perfect. If we bring Father Salvador with us, then his followers,
Sarvola.
Sarvola, yes,
Salvador,
his attackers would follow him out, and
That's right.
lures them out for us. It's perfect.
We get them in the woods, they're definitely going down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
So then we need to finish up our food and we need to find where Father Sarvola is. Do we know where he is at the
Well,
moment?
there's a missionary in town that we can check out. That's usually where he is when he's here. Is his house.
Okay, hurry up and eat. So like now that she's given you food, she's like, hurry
All right,
up,
let's
hurry up,
go.
Hurry up. We need to go find him.
Okay. So you're going to go try to find him right now. It's like dusk. Like I said, it's like dusk evening. So it's possible. And like Atolia's not wrong. So in the south of Thistlehold, I'll bring you to the map so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So in the south of Thistlehold, a little east of where Ordo Magica is, and kind of north of like the barracks and the town watch, is the mission station. If you guys are looking at the Thistlehold map, you can see where I'm pinging. You all are coming from a Davokar, which is up by the kind of to the northwest in town. And so you all get back on the streets. The sun is basically down at this point, and maybe there's like these last little ribbons that you can see off to the west or so. But for the most part, it's dark. You can see that there's kind of folks moving around on the street with lanterns and such. Much less traffic. You have to like bypass around all the barricades as well. But once you get on the promenade, kind of the long north-south running road through Thistlehold, you can see like there's still a little bit of traffic as people are coming and going. You can hear the sounds of kind of some that are clearly coming from or going to taverns and such. You pass through the Antique Plaza where you can still see the last remnants of some of the merchants and the vendors from the day, kind of still, they're sort of patching up some of their stalls and such, locking them away or wheeling them over into their shops and kind of closing down the shops for the night. So it's certainly kind of getting to the point where stuff is starting to close down. Madjac, we passed by like Mahira's agency as well. And you would know, so a couple of things on the expedition, like it's going to be like 100 plus people basically is what it is. And like these expeditions last sometimes years. So it's not like you're just leaving for like a couple days. Like you literally would be gone for away from Thistlehold for probably two years or something. That depends on how successful you are, obviously, but it's not like these aren't like small or quick things. And eventually you find yourselves coming up to the mission stage, and it is different from the soup kitchen Atolia over in Blackmore, which is a little bit more rough and tumble, a little bit more ragtag, and Sarvola hasn't really appeared there in some time. And it's mostly just been people who have kind of worked for him, other followers, people who have kind of not officially become priests, but have just sort of taken up the mantle of trying to be good and give back. And when you get here, despite the hour, there's still a fairly large crowd. It's a very small yard outside of a very modest-looking single-story building. And you can see that there is still a crowd of people that appear to be lingering about, some of them in the yard itself. You can see some have like lined up to go inside, probably to speak directly with Sarvola himself. It's kind of dark. Like I said, it's kind of dark out. There's some lights here and there on the streets. You occasionally see like a group of like town watchmen kind of moving past. But you do see that there is a line to go inside, and there's others kind of lingering about in some of the yards here and there. So what do you want to do? What's the plan?
It's not quite got the character I'm used to seeing, but yeah, here.
So if we assume that, and by the way, while we were walking here, Rowena would have kind of come up by Jinzo because the sun was setting as we were walking. And she's like, isn't the sunset just the most beautiful when you weren't sure if you were going to have your freedom or not? Doesn't it just look wonderful?
I don't know what you're insinuating, but yeah, it is beautiful.
I was so worried that you would not see the night's sunset, and I'm very glad that you get to see the sunset.
Yes, the sun is always great to see.
Yes. So that was sort of like while they were walking. And then if we think that this is where Father Sarvola is, then I think just even on approach, not that she's super great at it, but Rowena would be wanting to keep an eye out. Like if we think that people are after Father Sarvola, like as we're coming up, is anyone a couple blocks away? Anyone seeming to keep an eye in that direction? Like kind of starting to look at that as we approach.
Okay. Give me a vigilant roll. And just let me know how well you do. I'm not going to give you a modifier, but just give me it flat, and then let me know your differential.
I'm going to take an audience +1 for this because I said I'm rolling under 8 and just see if that helps. I rolled a 7, so I succeeded.
Nice. By how much?
Because I took the audience, I succeeded by 1.
So, okay. So as you come up, you look around, you can see that there are people in the yard. There looks to be like a couple of people that are trying to repair a wagon. There's a few folks that are kind of lingering and talking like by a tree, a couple of groups here and there, and all of them are kind of vaguely kind of standing in this line that's sneaking into this open doorway, and you can kind of hear mumbling and conversation. The basic gist is not unlike what you saw outside the church, the Sun Church, which is like people are still kind of feeling this level of concern over the events of the last few days. And as you're looking around, Reina, as you wander up, you notice that the crowd is quite big, but there is one young man, probably no older than Jinzo, maybe even younger than Jinzo, who is kind of standing nearby, and most of like the sort of the demeanor of folks in the area are like grieving and sad and such, and you can see very serious. But when you look at this young man, he's a little bit more like, he looks a little more nervous. He's kind of giving you like an anxious energy, like his eyes are like frequently darting around here and there. You lose track of him every now and then as he kind of like moves into one group and comes out of another. And then you can he's not quite in the line itself, but kind of skirting around the edges here and there. While you're doing that, while you're watching, what is everybody else doing when you first arrive?
Madjac would be pretty much doing the same thing. I mean, that's, he's a hunter, so he's going to have his head on a swivel, just trying to scout out the site.
You can do the same thing if you want. You can do a vigilant test. And then Atolia, what are you up to?
Well, I'm probably distracting him a little bit because I had a question. Yeah, it's about right. So I'm actually talking to Madjac, which distracts him from doing his
Okay,
job.
just harassing and hounding him. Okay.
Well, no, Madjac, I had a bit of a thought that floats by. Where you normally crash at the whatchamacallit, they do have a lot of goblins there, right? Well, maybe some of them would be willing to stand guard for Father Savola because he takes everybody in and doesn't judge them.
Well, I mean, they're all paid scouts and fighters. So, I mean, if Father Savola is going to pay them, they probably would. But, I mean, they're every bit as mercenary as I am. That's why they're my friends.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, but if they have a bit of spare time, maybe they'd be happy to, just take a peek in for somebody that's a decent folk.
I could definitely ask them, but, I mean, they think less of Prios than I do. Oh, and they think all humans are pieces of shit, so... But I'll check.
Oh, that's fair. It's not untrue. I wouldn't disagree with that sentiment generally.
That's fair.
So as the two of you, we'll say, are maybe moving about, kind of looking, Madjac, you're getting, like, Atolia's just pestering you. Like, every time you think you spot something, like, she, like, kind of taps you on the shoulder, or she says something, you turn back and you look. The two of you hear, like as you're walking and having this conversation, you hear, like, from some of the, like, these parishioners, these people, when they hear you mention things like protect Sarvala, and they're like, oh, Prios, bless you, thank you so much. He has been a boon to this hold. He is a man who needs better treatment than what he has been getting of late. This morning when he arrived at the house, there was just horrific graffiti, just the smothering of blood and feces, ox feces, all over the walls and the doors. And apparently somebody threw something in his window the night prior. They scared this little boy, Alwyn. Oh, he's such a delightful little child. Yeah, strange, but a delightful child. And it's so wonderful to hear that folks are coming together and finally seeing the good that Sarvola brings to us. And so, like, they're saying these things to you, and, like, kind of like casually as you wander around. Jinzo, what are you up to as you arrive?
Yeah, as Rena points out this frantic kid, I'll see if I can catch him mid-step.
Okay, you start wandering over to him. That's fine. Gwydion, before I resolve that, Gwydion, what are you doing?
Just very bluntly walk up to somebody who looks like they are standing with any capacity of authority. Look, we were there the other day when some assholes threatened to stab Father Savola, and then there was a goblin who almost got stabbed. We want to talk to him to make sure that he's in a good place or something. Do you know where he is?
I'm sorry. You said many profane epithets in that statement. I didn't fully understand it. Are you looking for Father Savola?
Yes, some assholes try to hurt him. We want to make sure he doesn't get hurt. The best way to make sure he doesn't get hurt is that we know where the fuck he is.
I see. He's inside. Well, he's inside. He's saying final prayers. We just finished a meal for some of the less fortunate, and then now he's saying some final prayers to folks before they retire for the evening. He's just inside there. There are a few ahead of you if you wanted to just join them in line.
He kind of points to the door, and there's a handful of people in front of the door,
Just right there behind that old woman. Yes, Francine. Yes, see, right there, right behind Francine.
Okay, so Gwydion...
So he'll join the line of people waiting for prayer.
Okay, so Gwydion, you join the line waiting
very
for
odd
prayer.
man out.
Okay. And then, Rowena, you told Jinzo. Jinzo, you head over in the direction of this kind of anxious-looking man. But, Rowena, what did you do with the information? As right now, Gwydion's in line, Atoli and Madjac have already kind of left the group and are circulating around and looking for things. Do you go with Jinzo? Do you go with Gwydion? Do you do something else, Rowena?
Yeah, Rowena would go with Jinzo because she was like turning around to tell everybody, and not everybody was there, and so she kind of told Jinzo, and it's like, okay, this is. So I think she's gonna try to kind of hang back a little bit and kind of let Jinzo have the conversation one-on-one, but she's gonna be at the ready in case this kid like bolts.
Okay. So Jinzo, you move over, Rowena's nearby, and he doesn't really even look at you. You can tell he's just sort of looking, and then you're like right on him, and he's like, "Oh,
Excuse me.
Are you lost, friend? Are you looking for somebody?
No, I'm just waiting to speak with Father Salvola. That's all. Like you, I'm sure, right?
I think all of us are. This line might be for him.
Oh, is that what this line is for? I thought that was the line. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go stand
together.
It seems to be getting kind of late, in fact, so maybe
he's a quick worker. Come on in.
Oh, well, I don't know if
I'll drag him with me.
Okay.
and he's like, "Oh, thank you." And he's like, you can tell the minute you grab him, he's very, very tense. And you get into the line, so you're effectively right behind Gwydion. And there's Gwydion, Jinzo, Rowena. And there is this kid who's probably like 16, 17. He's probably not that old. He's younger than, like I said, a little younger than Jinzo probably. And he's like, I really probably should get going.
Do you want to
my parents. What?
Bothering you? Maybe it'll help you.
Oh, same thing as everybody, just concerned for all of the terrible things that have happened lately, and in the causes of them, and that the town is just well, it's just its soul is just darkening with each day, So I need to go. My parents are going to be wondering where I'm at, if you don't mind.
Do you live far from here?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Over by the Queen's Square. It's going to be a bit of a hike. We live above a bakery. Oh, the smells.
If you've come from that far, you should stay.
Well, I mean, this line looks so long, and I don't want to be stuck out at night, all sorts of crime, and you never know if those creatures that came up from below are going to come up again,
You've got a good group here. I could even walk you home if needed.
Oh, that's so very kind of you. Oh, boy, you're a big fella.
So, as this is happening, you definitely get to sense that he's very nervous about something. The three of you, you can go ahead, since you're right on top of him, go ahead and give me I'll take a vigilant test. You're right on top of him, so +2.
Okay.
And let me know how you do. Call it out.
Oh, not failed by 2.
Vigilant.
Nice.
2.
All right, so
I succeeded with a margin of 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually
And Gwydion as well. Both of you.
Nice.
Jinzo, you've been talking to him. Maybe you don't see it, but Rowena and Gwydion, you notice that he's got a coat on. He's not like dressed like a warrior or anything like that. He just looks like a common person. He's got a little bit of a light coat on, and you see he's got like his arm underneath it, and the two of you catch like he's holding on to something, and you see it's like a red piece of cloth or something. And he's kind of getting almost fidgeting with it, and he just never quite fully removes his hand at any point.
And Rowena, like, because Gwydion is so much taller, and so I feel like Rowena is able to sort of make eye contact with Gwydion and make sure that he saw it too. I should know this. So which skill would be like the quickness to quick, sorry.
It would be quickness. It would be quick. Yeah.
I was scrolling through the list of the skills. Yeah.
I think persuasive.
So Rowena is not particularly quick. I don't know if Gwydion is quick, but Rowena is not quick.
Yeah. Gwydion's pretty quick.
So
but
Rowena's just gonna like make sure that Gwydion's
and I'll say that because he's looking at Jinzo, maybe he doesn't pick up on you making weird faces towards Gwydion like that. That's fine.
So Gwydion is quick.
What do you do?
But the bad thing is Gwydion is not subtle at all.
Okay.
If you hint towards it at all, what the fuck are you toying at in your pocket there, kid?
And you mean this? Oh, this is nothing. You see, and he kind of holds it up towards your face. This is nothing. And his eyes kind of go off to the left. And any of you with decent vigilance, you see that there's another person, also very young woman, kind of on the opposite side of the yard. She is also, you can see, reaches into her coat, pulls out this red, and they just kind of drop these scarves, and she just bolts down this alley, and you can see this kid kind of kicks you in the shin, Gwydion, and tries to run away.
Motherfucker. Don't kick me.
Meanwhile, Madjac and Atolia, I'll say you see coming out of these alleyways and these different that are kind of converging on this street out in front of where the promenade and where the actual mission station actually sits. You can see there's these different alleyways and such. You can see there's like groups of people that have suddenly come out, like they've been hiding in the shadows and they've slipped out, and you can see that all of them are wearing these like dirty white robes, and they've got these deep hoods over top of them to the point where you can't really see their faces, and you can see all of them have these blood red scarves that are kind of wrapped around their heads so that only their eyes can show, so it's like their mouths and their chins and their nose, and all of them have the sun, like that sinking sun symbol of the church daubed onto the robe somewhere, and each of them is carrying like a flaming oil lantern, and you can see they're all converging at this house, and they're shouting, they're like, "Heretics will burn! No more hiding, Savola!" And they're like running up, and they're looking like, you can tell they're about to throw these lanterns in the direction. So we're gonna hop into some initiative, and we'll kind of go from there.
Oh my gosh.
It's the worst fucking costume party ever.
Oh goodness. All right. So let me pull you guys over so that we can kind of keep track of this a little bit. All right.
So much.
Good job,
What?
Long. That was very good. With like, I'll just wait with you. Oh, yeah.
That was
Very
awesome.
good
I'm trying to
job.
change the outcome. We're still getting
I
ambushed.
mean, that's what you do
Yeah.
with shoplifters, right?
At least
Changes
it's
a
not an
little bit.
ambush. At least we know they're coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So so I'm just going to get a few things set up. As I do have like a little map for us to keep track of things. It is relatively accurate, but it's not obviously perfect. And I just wanted to give us a chance to show off the tokens and such that we got as well. And burn.
We should do a little zoom in for each of the tokens. We should take a look at them.
I will. We'll yeah,
If you-
just kind of
if you're
get a
on
few
our
things set up.
Discord, they were all posted, and you can zoom them in all you want. See, we tag team that, Kipser. We tag team that.
I'm going to say Father Savola and some other folks are probably still inside. But otherwise, I'm going to say maybe Madjac and like Atolia are maybe over, kind of they've been like wandering about the yard a bit. And then right by the front door, we'll say we have our trio of Jinzo and Gwydion and Rowena. And then let's see what else I got here. Something to make it look like this dude. I'm just going to use Dismas. We're going to say Dismas is this other guy you've been talking to, just to make it a little bit easier on us. Okay.
So when we want to punch him in the face, it'll feel real.
It'll feel cathartic.
Right.
Okay.
Grab his lower jaw and his upper jaw and just snap it.
Perfect.
No, good.
Can't wait. I can't wait till he tells on you. He tells his mom on you. Okay. It's going to be fun. Okay. So
Rowena appreciates being out of earshot of Madjac for a little bit.
Okay. So let me put you.
Dude.
All right. We should be. Who am I missing? Oh, I'm missing Jinzo. I was like, who am I missing from this? Let me put Jinzo in there. And remember, initiative is flat. It's just it just rolls like little tiebreaker stuff. Okay. So let's get it going. So looking around, just going to put it this way. There is a big crowd out in front. I didn't put like 100 different tokens because that would kill certain people's computers. So just assume though that there are far more people than is actually here. And so there's tons of people everywhere. We'll say a couple dozen probably folks lingering out in front. I'm going to say that Atolia and Madjac have been wandering over to the east a bit. They've been kind of circling the yard. And you can see coming out of multiple alleyways. You can see there's groups to the southeast, there's groups directly to the south, we'll say, just according to this map, and another group. There's like a dozen or so in total. Right in front of you, there is one of these, the guy who just sort of threw that red thing right up in your face and then tried to kick you in the shin and run away. And then you saw, I'll say anybody who succeeded, so it would probably be Gwydion and Rowena. You probably saw another person, that young girl, the teenage girl or so, same thing with a red scarf, just kind of dart down the alleyway to the northeast. I'll say Madjac and Atolia, since you really weren't involved in the red scarf thing, we'll say you maybe didn't necessarily see that yet, but you certainly see the people coming out waving lanterns and all sorts of stuff. All right. So, with that in mind, let's dive in. So, Madjac, you are the first. You see groups of these people with these lanterns. They're flaming. They're shouting all sorts of epithets: "Death to Sarvola," "Death to Heresy," all sorts of things as they come pouring out. What would you like to do?
Damn it! I hate working for free. He pulls a flame arrow out and he aims at one of the flaming lanterns being held by the people in the southeast. He's going to try to catch that little group of people on fire.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and roll your attack. Their defense is quick. So if you wanted to target them, you just target defense or just target quick. Otherwise, it's just +1. And I'm assuming going to be the one to the southeast. And I also say anybody trying to do range attacks, you're going to have to expend your. You're going to have to actually, before you do that, give me a quickness test to see if you can actually move and not interact with some of these, like some of the crowd. Because normally you would have to take one movement action to get line of sight because of the crowd. But because the crowd is kind of getting a little crazy, it would either take 2 or it would take a quickness test. And if you can pass the quickness test, then it would just be the 1. So you can make a quickness test to try to gain. Yeah, it'll be fine. Be all right.
No,
okay, so you're moving around. You feel like you've got the perfect shot, and you're about to let loose, and some like heavyset man kind of stumbles into. He's like, "Oh, sorry, oh!" And he starts rumbling past you. And as you look, and then when you try to move back up, you can see the group of those robe-wearing, lantern-carrying folk have moved slightly, and then you can see there's a bit of crowd on the street now as well. So you'd have to take two movement actions essentially to get your eyesight on them.
Then he'll just take his second action instead. He's just going to move back.
Okay.
Because if they move up on him, he can't. He's out. He's fine.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I was rolling my eyes at my neighbor because their engine is ridiculously loud. Okay, next up, Gwydion. This guy just kicked you. He hasn't run away, but he's kicked you and he's about to try to run away. What do you want to do? Reminding you I should remind everybody, by the way, you probably don't have your weapons out as you are standing in line in front of a church.
It's fine. Since he's not a kid and he doesn't look like he's armed, Gwydion will just give him a death glare with his one good eye. But meanwhile, he wasn't that far away from where the father was, and instead of like patiently waiting in line, it is just bursting through the door. I don't know if it is closed, he will just burst through it if he needs to, but if it's not, he just
door is open. The line was going in, and if you want to just kind of push forward at this point, the line's kind of starting to fracture as like the sounds of people yelling, like death to the heretic, you're gonna burn, all that kind of stuff. You can see people starting to scatter a little bit, so you can kind of push your way inside the actual mission station. And as you do, I'll say before you choose what you want to do next, I'll tell you what you see. Like you push inside, and you can see that you're in effectively the assembly hall, which is like the largest room. It seems to be where the congregation kind of gathers. You can see some chairs and benches like crudely made and pieced together. And you can see that Sarvola, who you probably would recognize with his kind of bald head, middle-aged man sitting in a fairly simple armchair. And he, at the sounds of all of the commotion outside, kind of stands up at this point. You also notice sitting next to him on a stool is this young boy with kind of like this brown-black hair. And he stands up like literally the exact same time that Sarvolo does. And Sarvolo's like, "What is the meaning of this?" And the little kid goes like, "What is the meaning of this?" And just starts to like kind of mimic everything that he's doing. What would you like to do?
Red sashes. Those fuckers want to burn you. Do you have a back exit or not? If you do, let's go there. If not, get the fuck behind me and we're going back out that door.
And so you can see that the little kid looks at you and kind of stares at you, and he's like, "If there's a back exit, we're going out the fucking back exit. If not, we're going out the fucking front." And Sarvolo's like,
"Alwyn, watch your tongue. Do not profane this house."
And he looks up at Gwydion.
"What do you mean? Who is out there?"
"Assholes with lanterns that want to burn you. Do you have a back door or not?"
"Always out. I will not let this place burn. I did not spend my time."
"Front door, get behind me."
Okay, so he'll go ahead and make a persuasive test. Actually, let's see if like you can kind of convince him.
Yeah, I'm the wrong person for that, but it's what would happen.
We talked about it. You're right here. We have proof on my screen of you're a diplomat when you talk to those
true.
witches.
I am a diplomat. What am I talking about?
There.
Yeah, it's great.
I am a fucking diplomat.
He rolls a nat one. He rolls a nat one. Okay, so
what?
You see if Sarvolo's got a weapon. Sarvola got a weapon? Yeah, he does. You see, he reaches over and he grabs his staff and he kind of stands up and he turns to like one of his parishioners.
"Get Alwyn out the back. Stay safe with him."
And then he kind of turns to you, Gwydion, and is like,
"Lead the way, barbarian,"
and comes running at you with his stuff. Okay. It's classic Jeremy logic. Like you do so bad on rolls in which you have a ridiculously high chance to succeed, and you do so well whenever there's rolls to not succeed.
We're doing Comtech.
That's backwards. I said that wrong. Okay. All right, Jinzo, you're next. You just saw Gwydion run inside. You can see he literally ignored this kid with the red sash that you've been talking to, who kind of kicked him and is looking to try to run away. But you get to go. What do you want to do?
I'm hearing commotion happening, shouting in the back. I'll shove this little boy.
place.
I'll shove this boy along. Run home, boy, and then.
Okay, he's like 16. I don't want to suggest he's like a little toddler. He's just maybe 2-3 years younger than you. Like he's a teen.
Fred, it's not safe here.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
He's like, he looks at you, does a double take, and thinks about that for a second. Okay, so then what do you want to do, Jin? So you have you have an action. You can do some stuff.
I'll follow Gwydion along because I think he's escorting the father out. So if there's any bad guys that come up.
Okay. So you're running inside. You get up next to Gwydion. You can see Father Sarvola is moving with purpose, kind of pushing past some of the parishioners. You can see a few of the parishioners are going out maybe the back entrance or climbing out some of the windows of the assembly hall. You can see there's other rooms. There's like maybe one or two other rooms in this building, and one of them, this kindly old woman is like escorting the young boy as well. But you see like Sarvola is coming up, and he's just like, I've heard enough of this, and he's got his staff ready to go. Okay. So Jinzo and Gwydion are both just inside, and Sarvola is kind of coming. And then we turn to Atolia. Atolia, you're right next to Madjac, who's just moved over by one of the wagons. People are kind of pushing around you a bit here and there, but you do see these folks are moving toward. What do you want to do?
We're not trying to be lethal right now, right? We're being nice people. No,
You do whatever you like.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I am hanging out with Madjac.
The murderiness rubs off.
Whether or not I do one thing in front of the other. So I'm going to grab 5 arrows out of my backpack and cast the spell Storm Arrow.
Okay. All right.
And with that, I do get to use one when I casted the spell immediately.
Right, but you probably wouldn't because you don't have line of sight. You have to spend a movement action to get line of sight on them. You also had to like retrieve the arrows, but you could probably prep this. Like if you shot the arrow, you wouldn't be able to like there because there's the whole notion of spending a movement action to get yourself into line of sight of them.
Okay, so, because I'm more to the right, I was looking at the group of people on my left and then the people on my coming out of the alleyway on the right side. But okay, then
just remember, there's probably about 24 people in this open yard area, like running around at this point and kind of fleeing the scene because people have just. So I just don't have them on the screen, but they're there.
Okay. Then I will instead spend a movement action to get up to where Madjac is. If that's do a dex check, or is it okay just to do that?
No, if you're just moving and you're not trying to get an attack off on the same turn, you can just do a movement action.
I was going to cast Entangling Vines on one of the people in the front of that group directly.
Okay, so then it would be a quickness test to try to kind of climb up onto this broken wagon.
Okay.
In one action, in like one movement action. If you pass the quickness test, you climb up and you'll have line of sight and then can take your action as normal. And you do. With a 6, you see Madjac that kind of slips a little bit on the wheel and you just scramble up and you're like standing right now in the back of this broken wagon that a couple people nearby were trying to fix, and you have a very good line of sight now as this group is kind of coming off in your direction. Okay. Great. What do you do?
So Entangling Vines, you see sort of she kind of claps her hands together and then pushes them down. And the bandages, you can see below them subdermally, there's some light that kind of emits as suddenly vines start to shoot out. Let's see, I need Resolute versus Strong. So sure. This should be that one right there. Yeah. So he is that one right there.
So the southeast, the first one kind of leading that small group of 4. So, absolutely.
With any luck, maybe blocking some people from leaving the alleyway, but yeah, that essentially I've just blocked the first one. He's not going to run out of here unless he passes a strong test.
Gotcha. Understood. All right. Perfect. All right. So then it is their turn. So they're all going to get to go now. So first off, Rowena, you're the last one that's in melee effectively with this kid who Jinzo and Gwydion, the 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid. And at this point, he's going to run. You are, if you would like, I'm assuming you have your staff because I think staves are a little bit different than swords. Swords are probably sheathed, but like a staff, I can see people using it as a walking stick or something like that. So I would say you could have your staff out if you wanted to take an attack a free attack as they try to escape. You're welcome to do that if you want. Otherwise, he's running. So what would you like to do?
And Rowena definitely walks with her staff for sure. When they're walking through town a bit. So what she would like to do is basically trip him with it. So, she'll basically, kind of like it's upright and she just kind of like jams the lower part of it out kind of between his legs to trip him.
Okay. Roll an attack against his, don't target dismiss his token. It's just roll your attack with a +1. because that's his defense. I'm just using the token as placeholder.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember how to do this again. So
should be accuracy unless you have something special. Should be accuracy for you to do an attack. So it should be your accuracy +1. So how did you do?
Oh, sorry. I didn't add in the +1, but I rolled a 15. So
okay. So you swing out at him and you kind of graze the back of his jerkin, which is kind of flowing now in the wind, but you're unable to really lay a hard hit. And because of that, he's going to start running, and you're going to see him essentially start darting down this northwestern alleyway, trying to flee the scene. Then all 12 of these are going to go. So Atolia, it's when you fail, right, to maintain it? It's not when I have to roll a strength, right? Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah. So he's like, as the vines come up, and he's trying to, and you can see he's trying to throw his lantern, but the vines are like wrapping around his arm at the same time. We're going to say, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just agreeing with you. The starting the following turn, I'll need to reroll. That's all I was going to say.
Okay. So you can see the ones around him kind of, I'll say 2 of them that were kind of flanking are able to sort of move up. The other one that was behind him kind of stumbles and has to like take an extra action. So he's not able to sort of move as easily. So one of them is probably slowed down. And of the 2 by Madjac and Atolia, you can see one of them is a little bit further ahead, and he launches this. He just rears back and it just kind of hurls almost like a grenade all the way on top of the big roof in the wall, and you see an explosion of fire as he throws this lantern right, and it starts to catch on the corner of this house. The second one, you can see, does not throw. He's like, doesn't think he's like close enough yet. He kind of bumps off a couple people here and there, but he's still like kind of rearing back, getting ready to throw. Right out in front, Rowena, you can see a group of them are kind of like pushing forward and pushing up. A few of them kind of get tripped and, kind of clamber over what looks like a few of these people that are trying to flee from where they were in line. One of them is going to go ahead and hurl their lantern up, and you can see it almost looks like they're throwing it at you, but instead it kind of smashes up against the wall right next to your head, and you can even feel a bit of fire and flame flicker down as their lantern makes contact with this side of the wall. Okay. Then off to the southwest, you can see these 4 kind of approach as well. There's another group coming out of a different alley. They're a little bit less molested than the others. And you can see they kind of push forward a little bit further, and 2 of them over here are able to launch their lanterns up onto the building. And so you can see there's now a couple of different places on the building that have actually started to catch fire, and that is the end of their turn. And now we come to Rowena. As now there is some fire above you, right by the front. There's a little bit of fire behind Atolia and Madjac, but not a ton. You can see some of the followers are fleeing. Some of them are kind of scrambling over towards like a well to try to get water. So like there's people doing a little bit of both, but there's definitely more of these folks that are closing in on the mission station. So Rowena, what would you like to do?
So Rowena would like to move out because she's hoping that they're going to be coming back out in this direction behind. So she wants to... so if I'm looking at the map, it looks like just to her west, there's something that she could like stand on, like some crates or something.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So ultimately what I'm wanting to do is I'm actually wanting to try to direct his supporters to hold off this westernmost group. So like I want to try to direct the people, protect Father Sarvola. You were here to pray with him. He needs your help. Make sure that they do not get any closer. And so that's kind of what she wants to do, is try to like reduce the numbers that we're dealing with a little bit.
Okay, so you try to scramble quickly up some of these crates. So first of all, give me a quickness test to see if you do this in a fast manner. And if you do and start screaming that, you'll get a bonus on your persuasive test. If not, you're still kind of shouting from amidst the crowd, and your persuasive test might be negatively modified as you're swallowed up by other people. Yeah. So give me a quickness test just to climb up.
Makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick, I'm taking an audience so that I'm rolling under 8, because again, my quick is not good. But let's see how this goes. And I rolled a 3. Nice. So. Okay.
You start scrambling up and you shout out as you see people are fleeing. People are fleeing. Some folks over by the wagon area are kind of like they're darting over towards like a well that's kind of in the yard. Others are fleeing, and you just shout and you shout. And go ahead, give me a persuasive test with a +2 as you have like this elevation. People can hear you much more easily. You have fire behind you, so they can see you quite easily as well. Give us that roll.
All right, so this I'm trying to roll under 12, and I rolled a 19.
Okay.
Gosh, darn it. I got up here real quick, and she doesn't have a voice that projects very well. If I can flavor that fail a little bit, like she's got all the spirit.
Excuse me. God, no, don't, please. Excuse me. I'm going to say, like, I'm not going to say it's like a full on, like they just ignore you and they throw shit at you. I'm just going to say, like, it just takes a little longer to convince them, as they're like, you can see there's a group of them that are kind of hesitating. They're like, they want to flee. They want to help Sorvola. And then there's this Ordo Magica adept kind of trying to tell them what to do. And they're looking at you and they're listening to you. And you can tell they're trying to think through whether or not what's the best thing to do in this situation. And then we're going to kind of come back to the top of the round. And Madjac, you can see that there's some fire. You can see one in front of you, not too far away, has thrown their lantern. It doesn't look like they have drawn a weapon to charge at you. It looks more like they're kind of like, you can see their eyes as the light's flickering off of it from the roof, and you can see it's more like they're actually looking at alleyways, like as to escape more than they are to actually charge in and fight you. There's 3 more behind that group. One, it looks like Atolia has gotten entangled, but 2 more are closing in on the house. What would you like to do?
So can I get up onto this cart now so I can get some elevation and fire? Okay. The one who's closer, who's got his arm cocked back to throw his lantern. I'm assuming it's this one. Yeah.
It's going to be.
I will shoot at his lantern. I want to explode his lantern over his body.
Okay. If you're aiming... So we'll say this: roll a normal attack. If your differential is high enough, we'll say you hit the lantern. If it's just a regular success, like a medium success, then we'll just say you just hit them normal. So I'm going to want like a differential of like maybe 5 to hit the lantern specifically. So yeah, it should just be +1. I think that's what all their stats are the same. So it should just be +1 with your attack, defense, quickness, whatever it is you want to target with them if you're using the tokens.
Okay.
Margin of 12.
He reaches back, his arm starts to go forward, and it's right as his arm goes forward, right as his arm is like right next to his head, that you fire and it explodes. What's your normal damage on your bow? Like, what would you normally do?
D10.
D10. I'll tell you what, because that explodes, go ahead and roll 2d10, as this is going to explode right next to his face.
Nice.
Come on. 12.
Okay. You see as this guy goes to throw, the lantern explodes as your arrow strikes it, and fire and oil coat him, and he just becomes completely and utterly engulfed in flame, falls down to the ground. You can see he's still thrashing around. You're not sure if he's completely dead, but I will say that he's down. That far exceeds his threshold. So he is very much down. If you wanted to take like a final kill shot with your free action for knocking him down, or for doing so much damage, you certainly could.
I do want to do that. I absolutely want to. I don't like these people. Burning people alive is rude.
It is true.
Margin of 11.
Okay, and so you fire the second one down as he's kind of flashing around. You can see he's trying to pat himself down, and right as it looks like he's trying to scramble back up, you hear the second arrow just come in through one side of the head, out through the other, and kind of pins the head back down onto the cobblestones, right in between like a crease, and he is very much dead. So that one.
Then Madjac just points at the 2 behind him.
Okay.
You're next.
You're next.
Nice.
Excellent. Gwydion, you and Jinzo are inside. You're leading Sarvola out. I'll say that no vigilant test necessary. You smell smoke. You hear people yelling, fire, fire outside. You hear Rowena calling to the people, like, help, help, like, put out the fire or whatever it is that Rowena says. So you know that they've already started to, like, set this place on fire. What do you do?
Fucking of course. So, just trying to take into account what he may have already seen walking up, plus what he just sees looking around. Is there like a fucking basin for some holy water? Or outside there was that cart nearby. Maybe there's a trough for like where people might have bring their horse up to.
Yes, there's definitely a well to, like, in terms of our map state, over towards the southeast outside, like where there's like some rubble and stuff where they've been working. So there's a well over there. Inside, you definitely see that there are some basins inside for various use. There's water inside. That's definitely there.
He's going to grab the biggest, heaviest basin of water he can and try and take it outside to toss it up onto some fire.
Okay. I'll tell you what, give me, like, you're going to be able to pick it up. You're super strong. But in terms of picking it up, running it outside, and still being able to use it in this turn, give me a quickness test.
Okay.
See if you can rush out there and toss it in a relatively direct manner up towards one of these chunks of fire.
Yeah, I'm going to roll a 19.
Okay. So I'll say
slosh.
You're sloshing around.
Right.
And you bump into people, and you realize, you think maybe for a second that they're trying to attack you, but you realize they're trying to grab the basin and help you. Like, you can see some of us like, we can help, Valpyrian, quit being so, I'm trying to help you. And there's this strange little moment where you look up and you see this like middle-aged Ambrian man who's looking at you, and he's just trying to help you. And maybe.
Fine.
Together, 1, 2, no. Do you know how to count? And then we will.
Yes!
Ouch.
Fucker.
We'll go to Jinzo.
Fucking help you, stupid fucking church. You know how to count?
Oh, God. Jinzo, what would you like to do?
I'll run back out to the front, this little group that's around, and I'll gauge how armed they are. They only have lanterns.
All right, so we'll say your movement action will kind of get you out kind of into the middle of the street here, or not the street, the pathway up where everyone was kind of lining up. You can tell, I mean, it's not like they don't have any weapons. They don't have any weapons drawn. You can see all of them just have lanterns. Like, you get the sense that they're really just trying to, like, set this place afire. You can even see, as you look off to your left, there's already one that's kind of fleeing. You can see the kid, the teenage that you kind of let go. He's fleeing as well. So it looks like their goal is more just to set this place on fire than it is to, like, do a full-sail slaughter and attack on everyone here. You also notice there, much like Gwydion, there are some the people around here that seem to be scrambling to try to put out these fires. You can see others are picking up small baskets or small buckets and trying to hurl them up towards where the flames are. But it's still a little bit hectic, and it's not like a ton of organization to it yet. But you can definitely see that there is an attempt for it. In terms of trying to stop the approach, there's a burning dead one on the ground over by Madjac, and you can see a second one over where Atolia and Madjac are as well, is essentially struck and stuck by vines. So there are people that are trying to stop them, but not that many. Only 2 people so far are trying to stop them. So what do you want to do, Jinzo?
I'll spend my action as a second movement and get engaged with all 4 in front, just to disrupt them.
Okay.
Yeah!
So you just get up in their biz and get in their way.
Wow.
I'll say on your first turn, you didn't do a ton of like really heavy actions on your first turn. I'll say you probably could have drawn your weapon on your first turn. So we'll say you're running up, got your fencing sword in hand. That's fine. Okay, and then Atolia, what would you like to do? Still on the wagon.
So, Madjac, as long as that one there is connected by vines, you should be able to interrogate him later. I'm going to jump down, maybe not yet, but just as a warning, I'm going to jump down, shift into them, and follow them back when they try to escape. Don't shoot me.
Okay. I will not shoot you. Probably. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm going to help here, and then when they really start to run, I'll join the... Does it look like they're running this turn or later?
It looks like the only one that is looking to actively run is the one who's already thrown their lantern near you. You can see Jinzo just closed in on 4 of them, but all 4 of them still have their lanterns. But there were a bunch off to the west that had like kind of west of you, where you can see like Rowena and Gwydion are over there. Many of those have already thrown their lanterns.
Okay, and then I'm going to try to jump off of the wagon and kind of disappear a little bit into the crowd. Sure. So, I should need to do a test before anything else.
Right, to maintain the vines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So he's still down. And then, so I'm going to try to, I guess, do this discreet and shape-shift into what they are wearing or similar to them.
Okay, so you want to like their clothes. So they've got those sort of dirty white robes, the scarves around their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, and are you doing that now, or are you doing that on your?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna try to get in before Madjac kills all of them to try to just run with the group.
Okay, sounds good.
I think you're seriously overestimating my skills, but okay.
Yeah.
That dead body that's burning says something different.
1 out of 12.
Yeah. Okay.
But a bunch of them are going to get away, and we need to find the root cause of this.
That's true.
Okay. So it's of another creature, but not a specific individual. So I'm going to say this doesn't count as a specific individual because they all kind of have different heights and stuff. They all have the same basic clothes on. All right, so we'll say there's like this little flicker as you shift and your clothes kind of morph. Give me a discrete test. This is not for them.
Can I take a discrete and I'll take an audience +1?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you. Fingers crossed. Nope. Darn, I rolled a 13, so.
You hear people amongst the crowd start to panic and kind of shout and point in your direction.
Mm-hmm.
Some shouting witch, some shouting changeling, some various epithets. Like they're all very. They're panicked. Things are crazy, and then you shift into this form, and maybe they get the wrong impression of you. Right?
Yep.
It's still pretty chaotic though. All right. So that is Atolia.
Madjac's just shaking his head. He's like, the crowd's going to beat her to death. I don't
Probably, yeah.
So then it becomes these people, these horrible people carrying lanterns. All they wanted to do,
Jinzo.
They were just going to knock on the door and just be like, "Hey, do you have a moment to talk about Prios?" And that's all it was going to be. Okay, so first off, the one that already over by Madjac in the wagon. The one that already threw their lantern, you can see they bolt and they start running. And I'm going to say that they're going to basically get just off screen, off to the east. And you can see they're running away. As they're doing so, Madjac, give me a vigilant test. I'll say -2, as it is kind of dark. As this is still dusk and they don't have the lantern in their hands anymore. But yeah, -2 as you just see them out of the corner of your eye. Running down the alley, down the path here.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of lose them as it seems like they move with a crowd. I will say at some point you do see like a red sash kind of get thrown up into the air. You get the sense that maybe they're shedding like their clothes, but you can't quite see them as they do so. Once like that crowd that they were with pushes away, you can see on the ground there is this stamped over robe as they kind of disappear now, and you kind of lose track of exactly who and which one they were. Okay, so that one is effectively away. Okay, and then the one that's got the tangling vines is still desperately trying to throw, but the vines are kind of preventing them to. This other in the southeast corner is going to run kind of in a direction of the wagon, but instead of throwing it at the wagon, they just hurl it over top of the heads of Atolia, as you're shifting and changing, and these people are turning in the crowd and kind of shouting at you. You just see this lantern, like this light, just go overhead like a comet, and then explodes against the side of the building. As we'll say, all the people over here, except for to the southeast, except for the one who's entangled, has thrown their lantern or has died. I guess you could say the one that's dead and burning on the ground technically threw his lantern. So technically. Okay, in the middle, I'm going to say Jinzo. These 4 don't engage with you. In fact, they try to push past you. I'm going to say 2 of them are probably going to push close enough past you that you can potentially get free attacks on them. So if you would like to do that, go right ahead now.
Yeah, I'll free attack.
Yeah, it's going to be +1. So just you can target, if you're using the system, just target their defense, and it should automatically do it for you. But otherwise, it's your attack +1. Okay, that's a success on the first. Yeah, give me your damage on that. Let me know how you do. Okay.
There's a 7.
So they run past. You can tell as you thrust your fencing sword, and you can feel it just have no resistance. Like you can tell they're not wearing armor, and it just goes right through the cloth of their robe, and you just feel them go, "Ah!" And you have hit their threshold. And so what you basically see happen is they go kind of tripping and stumbling, and the lantern goes falling to the ground. It's also, you hit their threshold, so you get a free attack, or you can knock them prone. Okay, go for it.
Oh, I can knock them prone and stuff?
It's one of those two. Whenever you hit their threshold, you can either take a free attack or you can knock them prone. Right now, they've just sort of taken the pain and they've dropped the lantern.
Okay, I'll knock the first guy prone and then attack the second guy that ran past.
Okay. All right, so there is one lantern stumbling on the ground in front of you. Go ahead and attack the second. They have the same stats, so go from there.
Nice, getting in the way of them moving forward.
Nice.
Another hit, comes with 5 damage.
Okay, that is not enough to hit their threshold, so they will continue to push past you. So I'm going to move one of them a little bit closer to you, so that's the one you knocked down. The other ones will push past, and then you will hear the sounds of more epithets come out of their mouths as they curse Sarvola, and you can see bursting into flame on the rooftops once more are there these 2 other sections of flame that begin to erupt. And so in that group around you, Jinzo, only 1 still has their lantern in hand, 2 have thrown, and 1 lantern of the guy that you knocked prone is on the ground. Over to the west,
Did Sarvola come out of the building with Gwydion?
Sarvola's going to be on this turn. I'm putting all NPCs on the same thing. So Sarvola will be on this turn. So the 3 over to the west that have already kind of thrown their lanterns, you can see they start to dart. One of them is going to run straight forward in the direction of the kid that you guys let free, who wasn't stopped, so he runs and disappears down the alley, the kid, and then you can see one of these figures follows. Another one kind of darts down a completely separate alley. You can see they're kind of scattering. And then a third turns back the way they came and starts to run down a different alley. And so you can see the 3 of them without lanterns have started to scatter. One remains near you, Rowena, and you watch as they rear back and they throw. And you can see right above you, Gwydion, right over top of your head, as you and this Ambrian man are trying to amble over with this big old tub. You can see a lantern flies overhead and explodes just as Sarvola steps out into the night. Okay, so let me see what Sarvola can actually do. I haven't really looked at his stat block too much. Let's see. Okay, he's got dominate. So I think what he'll do is he will... Okay. He's going to try to... The one near Jinzo that still has a lantern, he's going to target him with dominate. And he is going to say, "Stop this madness! And could somebody please roll a d20 for me? Let's say Jinzo, you're right there, so go ahead and do it. Or whoever just rolled it, I'll take that. I'll just take whoever rolled it. No, it's fine. I'll take it first. It was firsties. That's fine. That'll be a success. And so you can see right as this guy reaches back, he's getting ready to throw, he stops for a moment, and he can see his legs kind of cower as like this booming voice right next to you, Gwydion, as Sorvola just essentially stops him in his tracks. Okay. And then Rowena comes to you. In front of you, there are two of these men, or these people. You don't even know they're men. One of them has a lantern. One of them does not. The one who has a lantern is staring down at Sorvola and is kind of shaking. There is another one on the ground bleeding near Jinzo with a lantern falling to the ground. And then there are more over in the direction of where Atolia and Madjac are as well. What do you want to do, Rowena?
She is assuming that Gwydion will take him to the west on the way out, since that's just her assumption. So she will try to get out front and just mess up their ability to get behind her to Gwydion and Sorvola. So she's just gonna go out there with her staff and just
I'll tell you what, give me a vigilant test first. Give me a vigilant test. So that you can try to assess what's actually happening here. Because you're talking about getting in front of them. It doesn't look like they're I would say you don't even have to roll a vigilant test. You've seen a few of them run away. They could have, if they wanted, charged and attacked. But it's very clear that their goal was to set this place on fire and then scatter. And that's exactly what they're doing. And you can see that three have run in various alleyways west and north of where you're at. You can still see them. And then there are two more that are in front of you, one of whom is frozen in place effectively at the power of Sorvola's voice. What do you want to do?
Okay. So then I would say what Rowena would do at that point is she would climb down. I'm avoiding the word jump. Climb down from her high perch where she's at.
Okay.
And take up a flanking position on the other side of Sorvola with Gwydion for the escort out.
Okay. I just want to stress, I don't want you to waste your turn. So it doesn't look like Gwydion's escorting Sorvola. Gwydion has a big bucket of water, and he's carrying it with another Ambrian person who's trying to throw it at the fire on the roof. Sorvola looks like he has no effing intentions of running, as he's just stared and shouted down this one person. There's no fleeing going on, other than the people who just set this place on fire.
Oh, okay. So the people don't look like they're going to physically attack him.
They're literally they've literally seen multiple throw their lanterns, set the house on fire, and then flee.
Okay. She wants to see if she can hit one of she wants to have some to interrogate. So then that's what she would kind of want to do.
Okay.
So
there's one that has a lantern in hand who is transfixed at this moment by the power of Sorvola's voice. You could probably get to him.
The head. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go run up there and you smack him beside the head. I'll give you +2 on the attack, as he is staring at Sorvola right now as you charge up and try to swing at him.
That is a 4 success, damage 2.
With the result margin of 8, what I'll say is you run up, you smack him upside the head, his head kind of thunders, and then you take the butt and you come up with the butt of the staff on his arm, and you can see the lantern will go flying. We'll say that they don't take so much damage as they're hurting, but you've managed to kind of disarm them effectively of this lantern. Okay. So, top of the round, taking stock. There is still, to the southeast, over by Madjac and Atolia, there's one that still has a lantern in hand, who is entangled by Atolia's vines. There is one that just threw their lantern and looks to probably turning to run. There's one that's on the ground, dead, having been completely eviscerated and burned by Madjac. Then there's this new one that showed up just out of thin air, and everyone's pointing at her and just be like, there's another one right here. We should get this one. Okay, so that's
Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me!
Madjac like sneezed while Atolia was transfixing, and so he didn't notice.
Where did she come from?
In the middle, so in the middle of the yard, Jinzo's got one on the ground, has disarmed them of the lantern. We'll say Rowena is nearby, having also disarmed one of a lantern. But there is still one in like this sort of central area that still has a lantern in hand, is like preparing to throw. And so it's kind of the one by the rubble and the ruins just to the west of the wagon that you have been standing on, Madjac. So we come to Madjac. What do you want to do?
Do I have clear line of sight of him from up here on this?
Because you took the time to get on the wagon, yes, you're good to go.
All right. So I target him.
Okay. Because he's reaching back, he's trying to get it like deep into the recesses of the roof, further up the slopes. And you fire down. We'll do the same thing. If you get a high enough, if you get a more than a 5 margin, we'll say you can set the lantern on fire as you fire.
Only got a 1 margin.
Okay, it'll still hit him, and so you fire down, and you see like right in the side, and that 4 damage all goes through, but it's not enough to actually hit his threshold to trigger another attack, unfortunately. So
I rolled a 1 on a D10.
I know.
That's
I'm like,
unfortunate.
Yeah.
roll.
I roll absolute crap in this game constantly.
okay,
We roll a
D10s are
6.
unkind.
yeah, they are. Okay, you still hit him, and your exactly, your thing still triggers, so he'll be pinned, so he won't be able to run away. He could still potentially throw, but he won't be able to run away unless we do the strength thing. Gwydion, what would you like to do?
Right. 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, go on 3.
The two of you will take the turn, and you'll toss up the water, and I'll say that's going to douse. We'll say it's going to douse one of these flames. We'll say the one right above you, right above the door. Okay, and so you managed to douse one of those flames. There's still more flames going on. There are other people like yourself that are trying to douse these, but it's slow going. There are still enemies scattered about. I'll say you still have maybe a movement action. You get like one more action you can take. So if you toss this water up, what would you like to do now?
I see this. It looks like they have a lantern, or does it? He may not. He's kind of focused elsewhere.
Yeah, I'll say the one that you can see is the one that just got shot by Madjac. So if you want to charge it, and he's pinned, you can see he's kind of like stuck in the ground. There's a arrow sticking out of his foot. You can see it's halfway down into the ground, and he's yanking at his foot. But he's managed to hold on to the lantern, and it looks like he's getting ready to toss it up there. So you could potentially close on him.
Yeah, why not? We'll just get in his face and maybe just hold on to the basin while I get in his face to just have an obstruction.
Okay. You do run past one of them, but they don't have a weapon out to attack you, so no free attack's going to happen. We come to Jinzo. Jinzo, there's one on the ground. We'll say he's right in front of you. You don't have to make any kind of movement. He's right on the ground. He's already taken some damage from you. And his lantern is a couple feet from him, and he is reaching out for it. What do you want to do, Jinzo?
Pick the lantern away.
Okay. So you kick it away. We'll say movement action, kick the lantern away. But you still have your main action.
I'll let him be. I'll do another movement towards the water source.
Okay. So you're going to move kind of over in the direction of, we'll say, like the east over here somewhere, to where like there's, I should have put a well on the map, but I forgot. But we'll say there's one over in that direction. Okay. Atolia, your turn. You are now, people are looking at you and screaming, and some people have misunderstood what's happening here. But no one is actively attacking you currently. What would you like to do?
I'm first off going to roll for entangling vines.
Sounds good.
Yep, he's still stuck there. That guy's going to be like living there from now on. Just
I hate plants. Oh.
he's just not going anywhere. Okay, so if This seems a bit dangerous, so I'm going to layer a little bit with the shape-shifting. I'm going to throw a noticeable on myself as well.
Okay.
Which is just switches it from a discreet to a resolute.
But your unnoticeable is at a level in which it only targets one creature. You don't have the level that targets everybody. So you're only you can only do that against one person. So, okay. Which you can more than happy to do, but I don't want you to waste your action if that's not what you intended.
That is, it's a good point. I am just going to try to, because there was one person that ran westward into, I guess, one of the alleyways. I'm just going to try to start running with them.
Okay. There's one that's literally starting to run. So if you're looking at the map, the one just to the southeast of you, you can tell that they have thrown and they have made the turn and they're about to break in. So if you want to close in on them before because they're about to go. And if you close in on them, you know, you could potentially either you can free attack them if you wanted, or if there's something else you had in mind.
I'm just going to follow them home. Follow them to see where they're going.
Okay, so you run up onto them, and it is going to be their turn. The one who's entangled by vines is going to remain entangled by vines, cursing nature and all of its, leaves. The other one will continue to run. You passed your discreet test on them, but it was like the crowd that kind of caught you. So I think he's probably not picked up on the fact that you are not who you say you are. And so you hear a gruff voice say to you, "I'll see you back at headquarters, sister. Scatter!" And then they just start to run. And they run in a slightly different direction than the other one ran. Okay. But again, I'm going to say that they're like right on the edge, and you can kind of follow them for a little bit, and like you're kind of chasing after them. But there's that. All right. By Gwydion. This one is pinned, as it has an arrow in their leg. Do they roll something magic if they try to move? Is that what it is?
I roll. It's vigilance versus they're strong. So, okay.
I think what they're first going to try to do is they're going to try to throw their lantern. Gwydion, go ahead and give me a quickness test to see if you could slash at them before they get their lantern up. We'll say that. I'll give you one last chance before they get their lantern up there.
Maybe. It could happen.
I know quickness isn't your best stat. That's why I'm asking you to roll it.
One of my best stats. It just never rolls that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay. So he goes to reach back and he goes to throw. So I'm going to say you get a free attack with the hand. So roll an attack, or I'm going to give you a free attack as he goes to throw, as he is just trying to throw this, like hurl this thing up. He's already taken a little bit of damage from Madjac, but he's not.
I'll just roll it
got an arrow
with the thing, and you can make me change the...
It's a +1.
Okay. In that case, I'll just roll strong +1.
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Roll your damage. That'll be a success. You slash down at the arm as he goes to throw it.
What damage should I do for the basin?
Are you using the basin?
I didn't pull weapons yet, so I'm still just running with the basin in hand.
You can also just do unarmed if you want. Well, if you want to do the basin, that's funny. Let's do the basin. Give me a D6 for the basin, which is a little better.
And then I get a D4 on top of it for my other thing.
Okay, so that's a 5 so far.
So I somehow do 7 damage with the basin.
So you just smash them, not at the arm, you smash them upside the head. That is actually hits their threshold. So go ahead and you can roll. You can hit again. They're not dead. They're not dead yet. So if you can knock them down.
Beat somebody to death with a basin. Make me so happy.
Are you wanting to kill or wanting to leave around?
Yeah, no, I kill. I'm gonna kill him.
There's a definite party divide.
Yes, very much so. Describe how you obliterate this guy with a wooden water basin.
He's just like, I think it's part of it. Like he's just kind of like, it's still sort of in motion, charging towards him. He rears back, and there's the initial, like the basin kind of like shoves up into the brunt of his face, like shoving his nose up a little bit. He stumbles back, and it's just beating him repeatedly as he falls to the ground until the basin breaks apart, and there's some shard that's maybe sticking out that just kind of catches him in the clavicle somewhere, and then just blood starts spurting everywhere. Just this ridiculous, over-the-top murder.
And all around, like the basin like shatters into pieces, right? Like the wood comes apart and falls to the ground, and then the lantern comes down on top of it, and it just starts to like catch on fire, and you can see the lantern fizzles out in like the damp wood of the basin. Okay,
wood splinters, man. Wood splinters will get you.
That's right.
So then, okay, all right. So the ones that have already started to run away, over to the west, have effectively done so. So they disappear down these alleys, gone, ready to go. The one that you bonked over the head, Rowena, I'm gonna say is still is still there and ready to go. The other one, kind of to the southwest of you, they're gonna bolt down one of these alleys as well. So they're gonna start fleeing. The one that Jinzo kicked the lantern away is going to stand up, and seeing his lantern kind of kicked further and deeper away, is going to make for the south, and he's kind of run southward a bit, and then we'll say the one that was kind of just through their last lantern, he's going to try to run as well. Gwydion, I'm going to say he's going to try to run. He's going to have to try to run past you, so you can get a free attack if you would like, as this guy tries to run as well. Okay.
I have to sub probably just for regular punch, and that's okay.
It'll be a punch this time, yeah. So D4 plus whatever bonus stuff you have.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, what's your damage?
It's going to end up being 2d4.
Okay. Hey, if you can roll 7 or higher, you can potentially knock them down or hit again.
4.
You do not. You cold cock them a bit, but they almost stumble. It looks like they're about to fall, but they continue to run. All right, so as we go to Rowena. Actually, no, wait. Servola is going to come up as well. Servola's here, and he will close in on this one that you have capped. You have effectively closed in on. And now, Rowena, you and Servola are trying to keep this one alive. And Servola will call out like to the others, and he'll kind of call out to his people, like, "Push out the fires! This one will answer for this!" And kind of grabs him by the scruff of the neck. But in terms of ones that are still alive, there's one entangled in vines near Madjac. There is one that's running away that Atolia is secretly chasing in the same clothes. And there are two that have run kind of across the street to the south and are darting out of alleyways. And there is one that is running to the west and that is almost out of sight as well. Rowena, it's your turn.
Rowena would see if she can try to catch and bonk the one that's running to the left. To the west, I mean.
To the west? Sure. I say that one's probably close enough that you can chase and you can try to take an attack on. Again, since this one's already thrown their lantern, they're just trying to flee. We're going to do normal rules, so you're going to have to hit their threshold if you're going to try to like knock them over or something like that. So go ahead and roll.
All right. Quarterstaff roll. Failed. 14.
Okay. You swing, but it's kind of tight quarters in the alley, and maybe like there's like a plant that you kind of clink off of, and it doesn't quite land. But you're right next to him, so if he does try to flee, you will be able to get a hit off on him. Madjac,
okay. Top
of the round, you can see that there are probably two in range of you that are running. I'll give you credit with your high vigilance that you saw Atolia chasing, like the Atolia version of one chasing after another. And then you can see there's two more, including one that is entangled. What would you like to do?
I'm going to target this one down here because I want to try to, if I don't kill him, I want him pinned. So we'll have at least 3 people to interrogate.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah. And you're still up on top of the wagon, so line of sight's fine. And at this point, most of the people who are here have either fled or they have taken to doing like what Gwydion was doing, which is getting water and trying to put some of the fires out.
I've rolled 17, 17, 19. I cannot catch a break.
So the arrow.
I miss.
Oh my gosh. Arrow just flies ever so slightly wide, and he counts as lucky stars. Okay. Gwydion, your turn. You just killed one. You've got blood on your hands. You see another one running away. You see that Rowena chases down an alley after another. You can see there's two more that you can kind of see. Only one you could probably get to heading south. What do you want to do?
I mean, if there's nobody that I can like realistically get to, it seems like the thing that makes sense is to start trying to help toss water up on the fires.
Okay, so you turn around and you start helping some of the various people around here. You can see that Sarvola has basically bent one of the arms of these would-be arsons around and is kind of grinding him down to the ground and has like a knee on his back. So he definitely has one in tow as you turn and try and help. Jinzo, what would you like to do? You are probably in range of two, one that's entangled and then one that ran to the south that Madjac fired out but just missed. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm ignoring all these priest-looking guys that have like started running because they're not really fighting. So I'm more focused on the fire, helping.
Okay. So you and Gwydion will both kind of turn around. You start getting into this bucket chain to try to save as much as you can of the mission house. Okay, Atolia then. Do you continue to follow this one?
Yeah, if he starts to like look behind him a little bit more, then I will use unnoticeable against him. And I need to roll.
Do you want to just roll that now? Because he's probably going to do that.
I'll do entangling, but yeah, that guy's still stuck there. Done.
Okay.
I'm going to keep targeting him because I assume they have the same stats.
They all have the same stats. Yeah, you're right.
Yep, cool. Then I'm going to use a noticeable against him. Perfect. Yeah, fine.
Okay. So you see him turn over and he looks back. He sees the blazing fire on the rooftop of the mission station, but he looks directly past you. It's like he doesn't even notice that you're there. And he immediately starts to, you can see, pull the scarf off and throw it off to the side and starts taking the robe off and disappearing down an alleyway. So that's him, but you're following him unnoticed, no problem. So you're able to follow that one without issue at all. Then since no one kind of chased after the ones to the south, they're going to make it off as well. So the ones to the south, with the exception of the entangled guy, of course, he's still stuck. Poor schmuck. And so you can see these, the two to the south will kind of disappear down their alleys. And then the one near Rowena will try to flee. Rowena, if you want to take a free attack.
I do.
Go ahead and do so. Go for it.
I'm going to take a +1 from the audience just to see if I can do anything with this.
Okay. Give it a go.
That's a 19.
All right.
You and me, we cannot catch a break.
So she just like, she's flailing around in like the same like flower pot that she hit going the one way. She somehow still hits it going back the other way.
All right. Give me a vigilant test as they bolt away and they try to kind of disappear down an alley. And let's see if you can kind of keep track of them as they try to get away.
All right, still looking for that audience assistance and roll the vigilant +1. I'm also going to welcome 20 sides to every story. Thank you for the raid.
So smooth. Thank you for the raid.
Nice.
Hey, good luck. Raiders brought me a nat 1.
Okay, perfect. Which is good in this system. Most people don't realize that. Okay, so here's what we're going to say, because I'm going to kind of break out of initiative. And so we're going to set this up, and we know we just got a raid, but we're probably ending here. So this is what's happening. The blaze is still taking down this station. But because Gwydion and Jinzo and some of these others turned to help, it's not a complete and utter loss. But you can definitely tell that the front assembly hall that took most of the fire is all but caved in. But you would think that the living quarters in the back of the house have probably lived through it, because it doesn't look like much of the flames have gotten all the way back there. There's been enough people to kind of keep it from jumping into the alleys, into other homes. All of the homes in Thistlehold are kind of wide, specifically for this reason, to avoid this kind of stuff. So it doesn't seem to spread too bad. after a little while, Gwydion, you do notice that like that kid is saved, so you don't have to worry too much. It does look like they kind of come around. Sarvola takes one of these into custody. Madjac, you're able to go grab the one that's entangled, no issues whatsoever. And he also
Hold on. I want to see if Madjac has a strength that beats my resolution.
Oh, I'm not going in to untangle it. You see Madjac go in there, and he takes his spear and he stabs the spear through the side of his knee and pops his kneecap out. And he's like, "You're not going anywhere, son." And eventually, this spell is going to end. So
he was already stuck in the vines, and then you stabbed his knee.
And then he just stands back and waits for the vines to dissipate.
Fair enough.
That's what you get for being an asshole.
and so and Atolia disappears. Atolia is still following, and you have no issues. After a block or two, they stop running and they start moving now with just sort of normal movement. They're heading kind of northeasternly, and you just carefully and easily, without any issues, follow. They don't look like they're not trying to sneak in the shadows. They're just walking in the street like a normal person. Rowena, you saw where they went. You can choose now if you want to chase them. It's up to you.
Welcome, second raiders, the rebel pilot. Thank you for your raid.
Thank you guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would like to try to follow this other guy.
Okay, so we will then. Well, unfortunately, I think we're at time, so we're going to go ahead and end for tonight. But we will end with both Atolia and Rowena trying to follow these two arsonists back to wherever they're coming. They're going in somewhat different directions, but I will say, at least for the first leg, Rowena, you watch them eventually start to veer northeasternly. They rip off the robe, off the mask, all that kind of stuff. You, however, are going to have to roll some checks next time to see if you're noticed. But Atolia, you're following without issue. Everybody else is back at the mission house for now. And that's where we're going to go ahead and end it. And we'll pick up there next time. Okay.
Nice.
Yay!
All right.
Yay.
That
I
dude,
gotta get some
I
swear
rolled a
words.
bunch. That dude is in the vines for a while.
He is very. He does not. Yeah, he doesn't like play.
Eventually, Gwydion and I'll just take like a lasso and we'll lasso his torso and we'll just rip him out of the vine.
Yeah.
He'll just be like,
Kill me! Just kill me!
This is more fun.
There's no slow death for arsonists.
Okay, so you've got two prisoners that you definitely, and then you're following two. And so and then the rest of them are either dead or they got away. Okay, so there we go, and we'll pick up there next time. Sound good?
Oh, cool.
All right. So it was really funny when Madjac was telling you guys about the expedition. He was really starting to convince a lot of you. I'm like, oh shit, I was just riffing.
I knew my mind was going to get changed. This kind of stuff, that makes Madjac furious. He's going to go crazy.
It was just so funny to just like, you know what? This sounds like a really good idea. And you guys are like, we should go get some Farland with us. I'm like, well, shit. How is this going to work? So like, let's take your time. I have to think this through. Oh, goodness.
All right,
Hey,
we
there's
just
still
did
time
it
for that.
immediately.
There's still time. We could go tomorrow. Gwydion can't go. He's got to hang back with Dismiss though. I'm sorry. Okay.
We can't live without Gwydion. So.
Can't. All right. Let's go ahead and do some closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. Let's start with Aaron. Aaron, tell us what's going on over at Garblag.
Next week, I don't think there's anything on Tuesday, but on Wednesday, we should be back for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. Jim's back in the GM seat, and his shenanigans will continue. Then on Thursday at the same time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Pete will be starting his brand new Mothership campaign, and it looks like it is going to be fantastic.
Do you know if he's doing like his own or if is he doing like a module?
I think it's his own. I think what he's doing is kind of put everything together on his own. I'm pretty sure.
Right on. I really like all there's so many great modules for Mothership, and it's such an easy system to just bust out and run. We played it a bunch. I really like it, and I think I mentioned this before. That's the first thing I ever saw them run. That's how I found Garblack. Yeah, was Mothership. years ago. It's crazy. Okay. So, other than that, what do I have next? Tomorrow, right here on this channel, we are back to Delta Green. We've had about a month off. We are flashing forward a little over a year, starting up a new scenario. Got a couple new agents because I killed some, also in a fire, last time around. I was very excited. Body count in our Delta Green is pretty high. I'm kind of proud of myself. Saturday, we got Call of Cthulhu. Haven't killed anyone yet. But some people are about to go nuts, I think. So that's going to be fun. Monday, we got Alien. Almost killed Maekar. I was pretty close. I was pretty close to killing Maekar. And I did kill an NPC in a very hilarious way. It was super fun. So it was really, really great. 2 episodes ago, it was super funny. And then Tuesday, Frontier Scum. You can see everybody on the left side of the screen. The 4 of us over here playing through some Acid West. As Stephen hops back into the chair. And then next Friday, we'll have Aaron's Warhammer 40K. I'm bringing that up because we got a giveaway going on. If you hop into our Discord, if you go into the giveaway channel, if you drop some idea about Warhammer 40K, your favorite faction, favorite character, favorite game. I was talking a little bit about the new Rogue Trader game that's been out on Steam the last couple of months. You get entered in to win a chance to get a physical copy of what was it called? Redacted Records 2.
Records 2.
Yeah, for the Wrath and Glory system from Cubicle 7, which Aaron has been so gracious to run us through every other Friday night. And that's it. So thanks to 20 Sides to Every Story. Thank you to the Rebel Pilot for the raid. Let's go ahead and pay that forward by raiding somebody else. Let me keep talking because I forgot to get this ready. Still talking. And they changed the raid system. Oh, God, this is all... What the hell's going on? It looks totally different now.
Thank you, everybody, for the raid. We always appreciate
so much talking.
Thank you, everybody, for the audience bits that helped us with some of our roles tonight.
I don't know who any of these people are, but I'm going to raid one.
Some of us were rolling so bad that
I
would have had to use all of the audience dice.
You are right.
Even get one.
You weren't missing by just one.
God, yeah, those were. I had 17. I had the height advantage. I was like, anything under 17 and under, I was going to be fine. I could not hit broadside of a barn.
It's all right. There's always next time. Always
That's
next time.
That's usually what happens when I roll on the high stats. But roll Persuade. I got it.
He's got that locked in. He is a diplomat. All right, we are raiding Enchanting Sorcery. Follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
See ya.